My name is Jacob Wedman.
And I'm Sahara Nadeau. I grew up on Vancouver Island, which is on the west coast of Canada. And it's like a massive island, mainly full of wilderness, less people, which is cool. Cool place to grow up for sure. And we actually traveled quite a lot as a family, which has been really cool. And I went to university in Victoria, which is at the southern tip of Vancouver Island.
Okay.
And I studied geography. And I took 8 years to get my degree because I kept taking time off to travel and then going back to school and then back to travel and back to school. And in the meantime, I've been commercial fishing for 8 years. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I'm also from Vancouver Island in Canada, and I was born and raised in the Comox Valley, and I live on a small family farm where we grow trees for reforestation. I went to school in Alberta for drafting and engineering, and then worked with that for about a year, and then I quit and did what you guys did. Not for a year, I just went traveling, and then I decided I didn't really want to go back to it, and so I went back to school for horticulture.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And
Nice.
how many trees does your family grow a
We
year?
grow 7 million trees every year.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So when he said a small family farm, it's like 200 acres.
Yeah, don't be modest. You can brag about yourself.
No, Texas has huge farms. I
Yeah,
know
I'm
that.
sure.
Good grief.
So-
That's a lot of trees.
It's a lot
And they're
of
all like
trees.
this big. So they grow them from seed until they're this big. And then they, like the tree planters come and pick them up in like boxes, and that's what they plant into the
Forests.
earth. And they grow to be like the massive.
Logging's a
coastal
huge
species.
industry where we're from, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
where that comes in. So.
Interesting. That's cool.
So it's a 3-generation farm as of now, so trying to keep it going.
Are you taking over?
Yeah, I'm working on
His
it.
grandpa started it.
Yeah,
Okay. That's awesome.
so that's pretty fun.
That's pretty cool. So you said that you and your family traveled a lot when you were growing up. Where else did y'all used to go?
Well, because my dad works like the prawning job. We fish for prawns,
Okay.
and so it's like seasonal. So we grew up always having like he would just be off for like months at a time, like not working,
Yeah.
which is pretty sweet. And like so now the fisheries changed a lot, but now we only work for 2 months of the year, which is crazy. So it's like really intense,
Jeez.
like
Yeah.
like a lot of pressure, and
Long
it's like
days.
stressful. Yeah, you just work
Yeah.
forever
Okay.
until they shut down. So it's like you go until they say stop. So we fished for like 43 days last year, and so we'd go like a lot of times just to Mexico and kind of little trips like that, and all throughout like the Caribbean, all the different islands, and some of the more bigger trips were to Tanzania
Okay.
and to Rome. Where else? South America, so like Peru and Ecuador and the Galapagos.
So you just kind of had the travel bug like injected.
Totally,
Yeah.
I can't help it.
She didn't
Yeah.
have a choice.
I
it
got
doesn't
it
really
really
seem like
young.
it doesn't really seem like a choice.
No.
It's something that you do.
Which I'm stoked for. So that's kind of why I just wanted to study geography, because just learn about all the different regions of the world and
Yeah.
about like development and the different stages of where countries are at with like
Yeah.
poverty and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting to come and see it firsthand, especially in India now.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
whoa.
Why'd you quit school and go start traveling?
Oh, I didn't actually quit school. I just quit my job.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
So, no, I went straight to school after high school, and then sort of just living in the valley. Everyone sort of talks about traveling there. It's like everybody goes traveling, so it's kind of always ingrained in my brain that it was the cool thing to do. Whether it was or not, I didn't really know. And so me and my cousin, we just took off down to Central America and did that for a month and a half, and that was sort of the beginning. Bought surfboards down there, and so now I've been sort of surf traveling ever since, so that's been really fun for us.
So wherever you go, you surf?
Pretty much. That's usually, for me, it's like one of like the main things.
Yeah.
It's gotta be surf, so.
That's awesome.
Going to India, we were like stuffing our boards in the storage locker. I'm like, it seems so weird not to be like trying to get this on a train or a bus.
So where all have you surfed?
Well, we have pretty good surfing on the island, but then since then we've been to Central America twice, to Mexico a few times.
We spent a month camping in
We
Hawaii,
camped in Hawaii for a month.
which was pretty funny.
We've been throughout Southeast Asia.
So what made y'all come on this trip? Just cause?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just usually try to go somewhere almost every year if we can. I think that's one of our hardest things is not to go back somewhere
Yeah,
that
when
you're
you
like
fall in love.
familiar with
Yeah.
and you really like it.
Yeah.
Because like this trip we almost went back to Indo because like it's so rad there, and
Yeah.
we were just like, no, we gotta do something different. Like
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
Something new.
Going back to like a place that you've been, it turned into more of a vacation than like a
Totally.
Absolutely.
Then like a mission, we're like,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
good, though, right? Vacation
I
thoughts.
know.
I know, sometimes it's nice to just chill.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So what's next for y'all on y'all's travel docket?
I don't know. We kind of want to build a house.
Yeah.
Like a tiny home kind of thing, or like a...
We already built a tiny
So
home.
we got a tiny home.
What?
And it's
Now we want to build a bigger tiny home.
I need you to talk about your tiny home.
Ours is like, we built it to be a sauna. It's 10 by 12.
Okay.
And it's all like recycled wood. We got the beams from the beach, like driftwood.
Okay.
And then everything else I found, like all the interior cedar siding, I found off an old building. And I hand split all the shingles and everything from the outside. So we put a little wood stove in it, and then we were like, we could just live in this.
Yeah. For the summer. Like a
So,
summer home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we bought
Like a cabin.
a tent trailer for like our kitchen, and then we just lived in that for all last summer and spring, and until we couldn't live in it anymore
It
because
was
it got too cold. But it's pretty rustic, and that was kind of like, we were like, okay, we want to live somewhere. So we started drawing. So I got my drafting thing, so I just drew
Nice.
up a house. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would say that hopefully the house is next, but then if not, we'll definitely go somewhere. And even if we do a house, we'll definitely go somewhere
Yeah.
for like 2 weeks or something
At
like that.
least. We try to go for like a month plus, at least once a year, but I mean, you gotta go with what you got at the time if you're putting your priorities into house.
Have y'all ever had any like major issues on any of your trips?
Lots of funny stuff has happened, but like
Yeah.
never like we did like in Thailand, we did a tuk-tuk race, and then like
Were
the
you like-
cops like pulled us all over, and then we just like got out and walked away, and then they just like got in big trouble, I guess. But
We were just like, bye! I don't know. Just like stuff where you look back on it, you're like,
nice. Like,
interesting choices. But it ended up okay.
yeah. I feel like though you usually don't remember a lot of the bad stuff that happens to you that
Kind
well.
of, the good stuff sort of overshadows it.
I think I might have just picked my nose on camera, but that's alright.
I'll try
Laughing
not to
fake.
use
That's okay, you can use it.
Keep that one in.
it. What do you get out of travel that you can't get like out of anything else? Like, whether it be, you know, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically.
Want me to go first on
Go
this
for
one?
it.
I'm not that spiritual, so I think that doesn't really affect me that much, but I think that what I get most out of traveling is sort of a disconnect from the other, I guess, everything back there, and then just to become so immersed in something else that it's almost like everything you were doing before doesn't matter at all.
It's
like-
free.
yeah, you're like completely free, you got no obligations, and you can... The sweetest part is when you get somewhere with no plans and you just love a place and you just stay there and know that you don't have to go anywhere, or if you hate a place you can leave right away.
Yeah.
And so
Nice.
that's pretty liberating, I think, for a guy like me that's working on the farm for 3/4 of the year, so it's cool.
I think that, I don't know, I just love to experience what other people experience in their daily life. So you go around, you look at like the kids growing up out here. We just saw these ladies who are beggars, and they were begging, and they have a little baby, and they ask you, please, I need to feed my child. And then we saw them meet up, have a little conference, and swap babies, and like go in the other direction. And we were just like, wow, that kid is growing up with that reality their whole life. Like that's what they're born into, and you're like, makes you really think about your own reality and like what you can do to impact people around you in a
What
better
you
way.
do, yeah.
Yeah, makes you really like empathetic towards
Yeah.
like
And just
people
kind of,
living way different lives than you.
yeah, and just like understanding,
Yeah.
because like it's so different, other people's realities, and I just find it so fascinating. I could people watch all the time. Anywhere I go, I'm just like, wow, this is so cool.
When you guys go to Koh San, you gotta get feet massages and beers, and then you just sit there and watch the drunk people go by as you get your feet rubbed.
Oh my
That's
god.
the dream.
And it's
Living the
I
dream.
say that a lot, but that
it's good.
Oh my gosh,
It's
yeah.
like the best 15 minutes. Yes. Watching people stumble by. You're like,
Oh my
yes.
gosh. Two things that have happened traveling, one in Thailand and one in Sri Lanka, was Jake saved someone from drowning. No, like, you did.
It
Jake's
was
very
only
modest.
like a foot of water. They were just
They were too drunk. Like, literally
Man.
drowning in a foot of
no,
water.
man, I'm just like walking around, being like drunk
You're
guys.
saving people.
Yeah.
That's
It
crazy.
was actually really intense, yeah.
Yeah,
They're just too drunk to walk, and they're just like face down in the water.
Yep. I mean, I'd watched him fall in the water and like barely get out once already, and then he like walked back to the water, and I was kind of watching him like, don't go back to the water, man. And then he just fell down again, and then he just like.
And then a wave hit him,
and then
he's just like flat.
Didn't get up again, and he
Another
like,
wave
wasn't
hit him.
doing anything. I'm like, so I ran over there.
Let's see. What are some other questions? We went over a lot of stuff.
We did. We covered a lot of ground.
It's very natural.
I feel like we're best friends now. All of a
Thank
sudden.
you.
Yeah, I really
You guys are
I
awesome.
really want to travel.
I like
with
you guys. That's the best thing about traveling is like meeting people who like connect with, you become best friends with for 2 days or 3 weeks or however long you're like on the same path as them.
Yeah.
You're like, well, see you later. And then you like through Facebook or whatever, you keep in touch with them.
Yeah.
And like we have had like friends from Australia just be like, hey, I'm on the island, like want to meet up? And we're like, yeah, we'll meet up with you. Like just take them to like a crazy beach or wherever we're going, and like it's just like that is the best.
So what's y'all's experience with money as far as saving, and then once you're there, spending?
Cheap and cheerful.
Yeah.
Keep it cheap and keep it cheerful. If you don't like it and you're paying like no money, just go somewhere else and maybe spend $1 more, and you'll find something that will suit you for like accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
But like the most expensive thing for most of our trips is the plane ticket. Save up for the plane ticket, and then just try and budget however much you think it might be for accommodation.
I would say 2 tips for people that are sort of trying to save. The big one for us is if you can buy your plane ticket far enough in advance that you have time to save some more after that, then it really makes the pain seem not quite so bad. And then also I would just say that I guess when you're traveling, you may not be experiencing life quite in the same levels that you were back home as far as comfort. And that's just something that I guess you have to be okay with. And if you want to travel cheap, you got to know that even if you go places that are assumed to be cheap, you kind of get what you pay for, so you just have to be ready for that, and I think that makes it all that much more awesome at the end.
Yeah.
It makes it a bit more of a struggle, and I think that's that struggle is really what people want. Like sometimes life is just kind of easy, which is sad to say.
You know, you have a nice bed at home. That's waiting for you. It's not going anywhere.
It's like, oh, this is only a couple days on this.
Yeah.
I've had to remind myself of that a few times.
Yeah, but I think the best things to do in that situation, if you're getting like a little bit, like you're like, holy f***, I need a break, like splurge. Go to a nice hotel for a night.
That's exactly what we've done.
Yeah, and it totally breaks it up, and like if you can afford it, it's your life, it's your money, do it. If it's gonna make you feel way better and tough it out again for another couple weeks, like do it. Treat yourself.
Meal can go miles.
Yeah, you worked hard to save up the money for traveling, and a lot of people forget that. They're like, oh, that's like, it's $5. I don't know. Like when you're like, okay, but like if you don't do it,
It's like I want money when I get back home, you know, so I'm not broke.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I wanted to go to like some soccer games when I get back, and I have, you know, like $3,700 instead of, you know, $3,800. Like, you know, who cares? Like I went to the game and it was awesome.
Totally.
You can make that little bit of money go so much further here to make your experiences great than having it back home. Like it's always nice to have money in the bank, but that, I don't know, $400 will like you'll experience some pretty crazy things that you'd never experience with $400 back home. So
It's true.
Yeah, it's kind of like all about a balance traveling. It's like however much time you have and how much money you have and what you want to do with that time and money, and you've got to figure it out for how it works for you. And it's kind of the constant like, okay, if we do this, okay, we won't have time to do that, and like you're always sort of like making these kind of snap decisions like, okay, let's do it. Or like, no, let's go this way instead.
it's for the amount of money you'll spend versus the experience that you'll have, it's not even a question for people that are wondering if they should go.
Yeah. Well, I think another good thing for traveling is you gotta be flexible to a certain point, because, I mean, when we were in Central America, we were spending, I don't know, a couple weeks we were in El Salvador, and we like really loved this town. We're like, this town is awesome, just hanging out at the beach, surfing, lots of like cool people we were meeting, and we just met up with this group, and there was like a bunch of Aussies, an English girl, a Kiwi guy, and we just became like such good friends with them. And they're like, we're going to Nicaragua, and they're like, do you want to come? We're like, let's do it. So we all got this big van and just went, And then from there we ended up like staying with them, and they were going further down, and we're like, let's go to Honduras, let's go do some scuba diving, and then we're like, okay, let's just go back through Guatemala. So this whole other like whirlwind thing happened just because we met these awesome people who were like, let's do it, and it was like,
Yeah, that's pretty sick. That's all the questions we got.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for including us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks
really
for being so cool about it. Doing it like 10 minutes after knowing it.
Well, I was like, see, it's one of these things when you're traveling, you're like, why would I say no to these really friendly, awesome guys who just